2001. Seems like everybody can remember what they were doing when the World Trade Center buildings came down. As a reporter, it seems like in recent days, we keep reliving that nightmare on many smaller levels. To tell those stories, sometimes it helps as a reporter to visit the place where it all began. Like everybody else, I too was listening that morning to the panic, the disbelief.
And you can see the two towers, a huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
In all of the stories I've covered in 48 years, none were like the 9/11 disaster. It was a quiet fall day when I went to the 9/11 memorial a few weeks ago. And this is me 4 years ago. I wanted to see what had changed here since I last visited. Today was Shelley Segroy's first visit.
You can't imagine what those people went through.
As I walked these hallowed grounds among all the other visitors, there was no loud talking, no pointing, mostly silence. I went to the names, almost 3,000 of them. I found Paul Philips Leal of Germany, just shaking his head.
Behind every name there's a history and a family, and it's just unbelievable.
I feel like these 16 acres are sacred. The only sound? The water from the pools flowing over waterfalls. They're in the footprints of the two towers falling into other pools. Then that water disappearing into an abyss in the center. As I looked up, the relatively new World Trade Center looms over the memorial. It wasn't finished when I visited 4 years ago, but today I was determined to go to the top. The elevator is a fast trip that ends at 104 floors. It opens up to an observatory with landscapes in all directions. New York City is out there, millions of people living their lives. When 16 years ago, here, life stopped. As I wandered from view to view, as I watched the Empire State Building watching me, I couldn't help thinking of something that Shelley Segroy told me 104 floors below at ground zero.
I still think we're vulnerable. I know they're trying to have everything secure, but I just don't know.
It turns out she was right. Just a few short weeks ago, after we shot that story, a suspected terrorist drove a rented truck right down a bike path in New York City. 8 people died just a few blocks away from the 9/11 memorial. As you know, almost 2.5 years ago, Chattanooga joined the list of cities that mourn the loss of innocent people in a terrorist attack. Plans are underway for a permanent memorial on Amnicola Highway to honor the ones we lost. We'll keep you updated.
No matter how many times you go back, there's just a feeling that you get that it just happens nowhere else.
When I first visited a few years ago, people were treating it almost as if it were, of course it was a national park then, the National Park Service had taken it over, but people were treating it like they were going to the Smokies, or you know, going to some the Grand Tetons or something like that. There was a lot of talking, the kids were screaming and having a good time, and it just didn't seem like the place to have a good time.
Right.
That's changed now. Everything since the memorial, since the museum opened up, everything is a little more solemn now. I think when people go through the memorial, folks, if you ever get a chance to go, take Kleenexes, because you're going to need them.
Yeah.
It really changes your perspective.
All right.
As the Russia investigation continues,